Good morning, everyone. We are the 11th group from grade 12 STEM B. Today, we will present to you our study titled Extent of Readiness of Grade 10 Students for Basic Calculus of Senior High School STEM Strand. These are the proponents of the study. Yours truly, Shanlife Medina, Justine Magdato, Jasmine Manguera, Gabriel Andre Tarine, and Andre Lay Martelswing, who will present to you our rationale.
Most individuals have studied mathematics since elementary school, which has incredible use in our daily lives. People do not find mathematics to be a fascinating topic. That's why they do not pay attention to it. But in reality, mathematics is more than just numbers and simple addition and subtraction. Mathematics covers a wide range of topics, including arithmetic, trigonometry, analysis, algebra, geometry, statistics, and calculus. Calculus is one of the curriculum subjects taught in the STEM strand. Calculus is a difficult topic for some. Therefore, students should be prepared when taking calculus so that they do not encounter any difficulties in the topic. Readiness is the mode or condition of being completely ready to accomplish something, the desire to commit or achieve something, and the nature of being instant, speedy, and punctual, according to Lexico, year 2021.
Kearney and Garfield, year 2019, report that the students' performance and knowledge about the subject are also associated with their preparation in learning mathematics, as precisely observed by their instructors. A study shows a direct relation of the students' preparation in learning to their performance. A study of Capuno et al. Year 2019 also shows that the Philippines ranked 79th out of 138 participating countries in the year 2016 to 2017 Global Competitiveness Report in terms of science and mathematics education. This corresponds to the Department of Education's result of the National Achievement Test that concludes the average percentage score in math is about 46.63%, which is less than the 50% requirement of DepEd. This yields to the conclusion that for the previous years, students are less likely to be ready for math-related subjects for the STEM strand, especially basic calculus. A poor basic calculus grade is the most common concern among senior high school students, which prevents them from enrolling in the universities of their preference when they start college. When doing so, grades have a huge impact, especially if students want to apply for scholarships.
In our conceptual framework, the figure shows the ordinance of the process on assessing the student's readiness and awareness about the basic calculus of STEM strand. This process also includes knowing their awareness about the skills required in basic calculus, as well as test some basic knowledge of the required skills. All of them are done using the survey questionnaires created by the researchers.
Statement of the problem. This study will seek to answer the following questions. Number 1. How do the grade 10 teacher respondents assess the extent of readiness of their grade 10 students in taking basic calculus in senior high school? Number 2. How do the basic calculus teacher respondents assess the readiness of grade 10 students based on their prerequisite competencies? Number 3. How may the extent of readiness of the students in senior high school basic calculus relative to the identified prerequisite competencies be assessed? And lastly, number 4, what are the least mastered skills among the identified prerequisite competencies needed for the basic calculus subject?
Scope and delimitation. For this study, the researchers will evaluate the grade 10 math teachers and basic calculus teachers on how they assess the readiness of their students. Also, the readiness on basic calculus of the grade 10 students who will pursue the STEM strand. Students and teachers will be selected from Cluster 4 Division of Pampanga under the academic year of 2021 to 2022. The selected samples will fill out the survey questionnaires. Significance of the study. The purpose of this study is to prepare grade 10 students for the next level of their academic years. Also, to understand that they will need a prepared foundation in taking the STEM strand, because the presence of mathematics subjects will be more difficult than junior high school topics. This study will assist students and others in understanding what they must do in order to be prepared for the STEM strand. The following will benefit from the study. Grade 10 students. Knowing if they actually want to take the STEM strand can be beneficial to them. They can also profit from this by solidifying their mathematical learning interest. This research also tries to extend students' perspective when it comes to choosing a strand. Parents. Mostly, parents are the reason why a student can complete senior high school or school in general. They pay for tuition fees and other financial obligations. It is important for parents to understand what their child truly prefers as a degree so that their money will not go to waste. And this research guides each child in determining their desired course. Educators, instructors, or teachers will benefit from this research since they will not be obliged to establish a mathematical foundation for a student because they are aware that they need it and will study hard in junior high school to achieve it. In this way, educators can focus and give their attention to those who are slightly behind others or having difficulty coping up with the topic. Future researchers. Researchers in the future will be able to understand more about students' preparation for basic calculus. It will enable them in completing their current study method and serve as a guideline. It will also make them aware that the topic they intend to research has been studied and given attention to, giving them confidence in their decision.
Methodology. The coverage is the research design, research respondents, research instrument, data collection procedure, data processing and statistical treatment, and ethical considerations used by the researchers. Research design. In this study, the researchers will utilize quantitative research, particularly quantitative descriptive research. Quantitative descriptive is a process of gathering measurable data for statistical analysis of a population sample, which make it the most efficient design to utilize in this study because the variables are measurable. It will identify the least mastered prerequisite competencies and the advancement of the student's knowledge to the prerequisite topic by collecting data through surveys.
Research respondents. The respondents for this study will be 300 grade 10 students, 5 grade 10 math teachers, and 5 basic calculus teachers from Cluster 4 Division of Pampanga. Using a non-probability purposive sampling technique, the students will be selected based on the predetermined criteria that they are planning to take the STEM strand in senior high school. Using the same sampling technique, the researchers will select grade 10 math teachers with at least 5 years of experience in teaching the said subject, and basic calculus teachers with at least 3 years of experience in teaching the said subject, and are all currently teaching these subjects this academic year. After applying the non-probability sampling technique, the predetermined samples will undergo simple random sampling in order to accommodate the 300 grade 10 students, 5 grade 10 math teachers, and 5 basic calculus teachers intended to be the respondents of the study.
The questionnaires that will be used are created by the researchers and also modified from an existing study entitled Extent of Readiness of Grade 10 Students for General Mathematics of Senior High School in Sorsogon City, Philippines. The 3 instruments used are all made from Google Forms. For the students' questionnaire, they will be assessed to determine their least mastered skills about the prerequisite competencies needed for basic calculus. It contains 8 sections: arithmetic operations, factoring, solving equations, solving problems involving functions, graphing on Cartesian plane, solving involving volumes, areas, and perimeters, solving using trigonometry, and solving trigonometric identities. On the other hand, the questionnaires created for the grade 10 teachers will be measured using 5-point Likert type scales in the interval from 5, which means advanced, 4, which corresponds to proficient, 3, which is approaching proficiency, 2 being fair, and 1 as poor. The study had undergone validity and reliability evaluations through the 3 chosen validators who are mathematics teachers. The researchers conducted the pilot testing to test the reliability of the questionnaires before proceeding with the main survey. The researchers practiced the research approach with the following test participants: 10 grade 10 students, and 2 of each grade 10 math teachers and basic calculus teachers. To collect the result needed for the study, the researchers will write a formal letter to the education program supervisor, math education supervisor, senior high school principal, or academic chairperson to request permission to conduct the study and to answer the survey. The questionnaires are reviewed and selected according to their relevance to the topic and level of difficulty. When selected, the questions were divided into sections and then organized into Google Forms. Meanwhile, the questionnaires for teachers are created by listing the prerequisite topics in calculus and arranged to form a 5-point Likert questionnaire. After the respondents answer the survey, the result will be collected, tallied, analyzed, and interpreted by researchers.
Data processing and statistical treatment. The data collected will be counted, calculated, analyzed, and evaluated using the statistical procedures listed below. Weighted mean and standard deviation will be used in determining the following. Number 1, the extent of readiness of grade 10 students assessed by their grade 10 teacher respondents. Number 2, the extent of readiness of grade 10 students based on their prerequisite competencies assessed by their basic calculus teacher respondents. And number 3, the extent of readiness of the students in senior high school basic calculus relative to the identified prerequisite competencies item analysis. And lastly, to determine the least mastered skills among the identified people using competencies, rank distribution will be used.
We will ask permission and ensure the privacy of the respondent's profile, which will include their name, address, and personal background. The researchers will submit a letter requesting the permission to conduct the study and respond to the survey. At this point, we will now present our letters for validators. These include specified letters for Ms. Catherine Bonifacio, Mr. Gary Pangan, and Mr. Norman Santos. We also have letters for respondents and schools. Next is the screenshot of our survey questionnaires titled Assessment Test for Grade 10 Students in Prerequisite Competencies for Calculus STEM Strand, Extent of Readiness of Grade 10 Students for Basic Calculus of Senior High School STEM Strand, Survey Questionnaire for Grade 10 Teachers, Extent of Readiness of Grade 10 Students for Basic Calculus of Senior High School STEM Strand, Survey Questionnaire for Basic Calculus Teachers. And these are our Kuder-Richardson and Cronbach's Alpha results for the questionnaire. The last slide is the list of our references. Again, thank you for listening to our presentation. We are now ready for your comments and suggestions on our papers.